Around the Rec with Steve Masters, CEO of Sylacauga Parks and Rec. Steve, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
It is a busy time at the Rec, isn't it? What's going on?
How long you got? We can sit here all day. We're finishing up fall sports. That's volleyball, soccer, football, flag football, cheerleading, all going on. Finishing those up here in the next week or so. All-Stars is coming up. We're actually getting to host the ARPA District 5 volleyball tournament, so we'll have girls from all over our district.
Will that be at the Rec,
here.
or where will that be?
It's going to be at the Rec, and then we're using some of the gyms at the high school. That's the second weekend in November. Our big fall festival's coming up on the 25th. If you came to that last year, you probably waited in line about an hour and a half. Lauren and I have gotten together and made a lot of changes. We hope that the flow is going to be a lot better on that this year.
What's it going to be about?
So the Fall Festival, we've got nearly 40 vendors out there. It's a trunk or treat, you know, is what it is. But last year we had one entrance and it kind of slowed things up. So we're making 2 entrances. We're moving the food trucks out to Norton and closing down Norton over there. So you'll be able to have better flow and spread out all over the park. And our seniors actually just got back from Virginia Beach. We had nearly 40 seniors that went out there, and they had a blast. Keisha had some great pictures. So even Lake Howard, you know, every year we have people that come from all 50 states and some from other countries out to Lake Howard and do the Pinhoti race, which is a 100-mile ultimate run. And the third weekend in November, the 22nd, we're hosting our epic bike race where we got a 50-mile race and like a 20-something mile race. Same thing, people from all over the state, Georgia, Tennessee, that come to do that. So like you said, it's a busy time at the Rec right now.
Speaking of Pinhoti, we just hosted down at Noble Park a big event for Pinhoti.
It is a big event. Nathan and Kim Wright put that on. You know, they got the Pinhoti Outdoor Center. I'm not really into, I love our trail, but I don't travel much for hiking. But in talking with them, the fall kind of kicks off hiking season for Alabama due to obvious reasons, snakes and heat and everything else. So the park was full. They had a bunch of great vendors out there with information. They do a great job with that event. And, you know, us being a trail town is something that, you know, my backyard's national forest, so I'm pretty familiar with it back there, but other people are starting to notice how beautiful Bull Gap Mountain and the Pinhoti Trail and all that is. So that's really exciting.
Yeah. You know, we're talking about fall sports ending up. Do you know how many kids we had involved in fall sports?
We were doing the math the other day. It's right under 500 for fall.
Wow.
We've looked at, one of the statistics that we look at, you know, is budget time. You always got to justify what you do and how much it costs to do it. We've got around 1,000 kids that utilize our programs and our affiliates as far as gymnastics, karate, and all those things. You know, when you look at the census, we've pretty much got a kid enrolled in one of our programs in about 75% of the houses in Sylacauga. And to us, that's a great number for us. You know, we try to offer a lot of different things. Obviously, we do sports, but then we have day camps and we have karate. And, you know, we try to make sure that there's something for most kids out there, for sure.
And we got basketball registration ongoing right now, right?
Yeah, you know, every time we wind a sport down, it means we're signing up for another one. Hunter and Jesse have done a great job this year. This will wind us down for this year, but we're already registering for next year. Basketball's games will start in January like they always do. But $85, get your kids signed up. We get them in a uniform. They'll start games right after the first of the year.
I guess you're keeping an eye on the pickleball court.
Pickleball court, I walk over there every day. You know, I'm not a construction guy, but Chris, the lead guy for Brooks & Sons, amazing. He dumbs things down to tell me what's going on. The foundations for the poles and everything's in. Electrical's buried, plumbing's buried. They're pouring the footers to start the buildings Thursday, and he assures me within a week, maybe 2, depending on the weather, that it's fixing to start going vertical. So it'll get exciting out there.
Any soft opening date?
They're talking about the third weekend of December. The biggest factor we're running into now, the coating that they put on top of the asphalt is an acrylic paint that's sand suspended in, and that's kind of your surface for volleyball and basketball. Weather's got to be just right for that. So as you know, we've had a very dry, September and October, and the temperatures are still in the 80s, but we're not ready to put that paint down yet. So hopefully the weather holds on, and we have some great days in late October, early November where we can get it painted and striped up, and we'll be right on schedule. The exciting thing too is, Beth Yates Park that's been here since the 40s, we're getting to resurface those courts as well. If you've played out there lately, there's some cracks, and they hadn't been resurfaced in about 6 years. And this is routine maintenance as far as pickleball and tennis courts go. So a lot of exciting things going on. Whenever we do have budget hearings, you've seen the park, Noble Park, that we redid last year. Spent a little over $300,000 on that, and it's an absolutely gorgeous park. And if you ride by, they're using it. So we're wanting to do all of our parks, but obviously with the expense of playgrounds, it's one at a time. You can't do a bunch at one time. So we've already got plans drawn up to redo Beth Yates Park.
So how many parks total do we have?
So if you count all the properties we cut, we got 2 guys that pretty much maintain 12, sometimes 13 properties.
Goodness.
And they're all over town. Beth Yates was a genius back in the day, and she created these pocket parks and neighborhood parks like South Highland and Fairmont. Some of those, we've teamed up with the Utilities Board, and now we manage Lake Howard out there. We cut the fields over there in the Housing Authority for them that we took in years ago. We cut the museum, So we're always cutting grass. There's not a day that goes by. If it rains that morning, as soon as it stops, we're cutting grass. But thankfully, the grass is slowing down. This time of year, Chris and Alan and the guys, we start going around the parks and making lists. Need to fix this plug, need to paint this roof. So never a dull moment, always something to do, and we're just rolling along.
Steve Masters, CEO of Sylacauga Parks and Rec, our guest this morning on Round the Rec. Everybody wants to know about the projected dates and where we are with a new complex that we're putting out of the ground soon.
The new recreation center, I actually reached out to the architects yesterday. The same architects are doing pickleball, and obviously it's in construction, so that's been the focus for about the past 3 weeks. We're pretty much done with the design of the new recreation center. Funny enough, we're done with the design before the location is official. So we have a meeting with planning and zoning tomorrow. It's a public meeting where we're trying to get a conditional use agreement from them where we don't have to change the zoning in order to put recreation there. Been a lot of discussion about location, and me and Chris were talking before this. It's 1 block from the building we've been in for 48 years. So when everybody's talking about it should be here, it should be there, we're going to extend sidewalks. It's going to be part of our downtown. It's going to be inviting the people coming up and down 21 and Broadway. Our kids can walk from both schools to get there after school. So hopefully we can put this behind us and put that to rest. And they're still telling me we put a shovel in the ground in December and about 16 months to build this building.
So are you building it in stages or putting it all together at one time?
It's all together at one time. 2 indoor basketball courts that's basically converted into 4 volleyball courts. It's going to have a nice walking track with big windows upstairs above the courts. An exercise facility will be up there as well. We're going to have an indoor swimming pool. There's 8 lanes for swimming, and then it's kind of sectioned off where we're going to have a shallow end for water aerobics, water therapy, learn to swim programs. There's going to be 2 party rooms. Back in the day, if the pool was rented for a party, it wasn't open to the public. So we're trying to make it where this recreation center, you don't have to call and see if the gym's open. You don't have to worry about, can I go swim laps today? It's a public facility. It's to make our community healthy, and we're going to make it as available as often as we possibly can.
There's been a lot of conversation about the safety of the kids getting to and from the new complex. Speak on that this morning.
Yeah, I mean, that's a conversation. Everybody talks about the 4-lane and kids are going to cross the 4-lane and stuff like that. I mean, people are going to walk where people want to walk. You know, I see you when you're coming into work every morning. I walk this town from the hospital all the way to Noble Park most days. The sidewalk is in place, even from the Drew Court community, for them to get to a red light, to cross 21, hop on a sidewalk. And from this rec center, you can walk to Comer School, Sylacauga High School, Sonic, Dairy Queen, all the way to the Oak Apartments, all the way from South Main, and never step off a sidewalk. Like, we have a very good sidewalk system. Some of them are a little uneven and need to be fixed, but the crosswalks are in place, the sidewalks are in place. We're going to connect over there on Norton and 10th Street behind Jack's. That's going to be the main walkable access to get to that piece of property. We've already got a crosswalk approved. We've already talked to the police and the street department about putting flashing neon signs.
Explain a crosswalk.
Well, you know, the crosswalk is just the painting that's on the ground, and then instead of having regular stop signs, if you've ever been over here on Main coming out of Drew Court, they got LED flashing stop signs so everybody's paying attention. And that's what we want to do at that intersection. So to me, it's logical. We're not, you know, buying property. We're in the middle of downtown. There's access. It's 2 blocks from where we've been for 48 years. So, you know, it's definitely walkable. So,
no doubt about it. Steve Masters, CEO of Sylacauga Parks and Rec, this morning. We're winding up this year, and you guys are ending with a flurry, I see.
Yeah, it's always busy. You know, we got great department heads. Each department is always active and doing something, and I walk in every day and just try to fit in what I can. You know, we're already tuning up for Christmas. You know, we're kind of like Hobby Lobby and Walmart. We can't get through one holiday before we're working on another one. So Lauren's got some great things planned for Christmas this year. We're doing an ornament. They're creating an ornament with a sublimation press that we bought on November the 6th. And then she's doing her first ever Christmas market that's coming up. And she asked me if, you know, this is something, the Chamber's done one in the past. We made sure they weren't doing one this year, and it's something she's always wanted to do. And I was like, let's just see how it goes. So we got over 40 vendors coming. And she just keeps everything rolling, and Hunter's doing the sports, and Chris is taking care of the parks. Billy's doing an amazing job at Lake Howard. Lakeisha, she's got a family of seniors over there that she's just done a wonderful job. So they just keep us hopping and keep us busy.
You know, one of the busiest spots in town is Central Park, right across from Bluebell.
The exciting thing for me is, obviously, you know, we had a vision to create a special event coordinator and start doing things in our town, and it's picked up, which is fun, and now other people are wanting to do events as well. So, you know, our goal is you wake up on Saturday morning, drive through town, there's something going on. This kickback that we're doing here, Lauren got with a group at the high school, and she was like, what would y'all like to do? Because you always see on Facebook, there's nothing for kids to do, right? So she got with them, and she said, what would you like to do? So we did this kickback, which is basically a food truck Friday for high school kids, is what it is. And the first one, on a Tuesday night, we had over 200 kids in that park.
Wow. And
when it was over, they just hung out and sat around and had a good time. So we're offering that again. That's next Thursday, October the 16th. Great event. DJ Witchy actually volunteers his time to go out there and do that. So, you know, great community partner, somebody who, you know, loves this community and is trying to do something for the kids. And we anticipate it to be a big event again.
You know, people talk about there's nothing to do in Sylacauga. They need to take a fresh look at what's going on.
I agree. I agree. You know, I've commented on that several times, and I've been put in my place several times that, you know, we only care about athletes or whatever. I mean, we're a park and recreation center. That's kind of our job. And, you know, now we're doing events for kids as well. And hopefully with this new rec center, we're going to try to dab into some after school programs and stuff like that. But our focus will always be parks and recreation. That's our job. You know, we have a senior building as well that we're going to use J. Craig and extend our senior services over there. Keisha has wonderful ideas. She's already busting at the seams in our current Maxi Visa Center. So new and exciting things coming. You know, all we need is money and space, and we'll keep adding things.
Yeah, one of the great assets that you have and what you offer to the community as a service is feeding our seniors every day. And it's an opportunity for them to get out of their house and get together with other people.
Yeah, the East Alabama Nutrition Program's a wonderful partnership. East Alabama is what allows SAFE to do the transportation for our seniors. So, you know, obviously our seniors built this community. We always want to make sure that we take care of our seniors. And, you know, between SAFE providing transportation, we've served 95 meals a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. So, you know, it's just another one of those things. It's an outreach program to try to take care of our community and, you know, make sure everybody's got a good meal.
To keep up with what's going on at the Parks and Rec, is there a website or something they go to?
You can use our website. It's sylacauga.recdesk.com, or our Facebook page is, we got Sylacauga Parks and Rec on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're following just sports, you got a kid who's 10 and playing 3 or 4 sports, it's Sylacauga Rec Sports on Facebook. That's always the first place to get the information on registration or games canceled and stuff like that. And, you know, just pay attention, because we're over here working, trying to provide things for you.
All right, Steve Master, CEO of Sylacauga Parks and Rec, our guest this morning on Round the Rec. Steve, always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
More Daybreak coming up right after this.